Do you think deep thinkers are more lonely?
Yeah, my knee-jerk response to that would be yes, for sure. I think anyone who is very heady and trapped in the song of me, in the sense of like recursive thought, is going to likely feel isolated. And I would say that there may be some argument to be made that with that superpower comes a secondary function, which is like a shielding function to not feel, to divorce yourself from certain bodily sensations, which is part of the reason, not to drag this back into ketamine, why ketamine is so seductive for type A, highly analytical males. And it's not to say that women can't become addicted, but from what I've seen, it is predominantly male who want to avoid feeling something. And that could be subconscious or it could be conscious, but it serves the same purpose as alcohol. So if your family or you have ever used alcohol to take the edge off, you are susceptible to ketamine addiction, is what I would say. Similarly, you are susceptible to basically viewing your consciousness and existence from the neck up. And I think both can have severe side effects in terms of social side effects, sort of psycho-emotional side effects, certainly.
There's a quote from Alain de Botton where he says, "Loneliness is a kind of tax we have to pay to atone for a certain complexity of mind."
I don't know if I agree with that.
So I used to.
I think it can be a tax.
I used to. The position that I've arrived at now, especially since moving to Austin, which is kind of full of cultural, psychological refugees from other places where they maybe didn't fit in any case, is that you just maybe need to work harder to find your tribe. Mm-hmm. That your psychological non-typicalness will mean that you are out toward the edges of whatever bell curve of normalness you are. So it's going to be, fewer people are going to get you. But I actually think that that's fine, because the people that you do find that you do like and do get on with you will also have that like oasis in the middle of the desert sensation. It's like, oh, dude, you get me. Like you think about this too.
Yeah.
And I think while I was still living in the UK, I was struggling to connect with people. I met a million people across my career of standing on the front door of nightclubs, and I had a handful of friends, most of whom I worked with in one form or another.
Yeah.
That's not a fantastic friend exposure to conversion ratio. Like my marketing funnel wasn't marketing, right? It wasn't converting. I should speak to Toby. And then I came to Austin and I realized that, well, there is a bit more. Like it's not been as hard. And maybe that's starting to self-select because people kind of are seeking me out, and obviously, like advantages of fame, I suppose, or at least of like being front-facing. But I think that in the wrong groups, yes, loneliness can be a kind of tax you have to pay to atone for a certain complexity of mind. But it also offers you the opportunity, like the only way out is through. And through means working maybe a bit harder to find people that are like the people that you want to be around.
Yeah, I also feel like those who are good at thinking sometimes become hammers looking for nails. I know that's true for me, in the sense that we think, for instance, and this might not be explicit, but that we can cogitate our way into equanimity, inner peace.
You mean we can't? I can't do that?
And there's this fetishizing of independence, especially in the US, where if you look for apes, monkeys, certainly historically hominids who were lone survivors, I don't think you're going to find them, right? We are interdependent as a species. We've evolved to coexist. So for me, I used to view loneliness as a failure of self, like a failure of discipline, a failure of resilience, a failure of inner narrative, something like that. I think it's much simpler in the sense that loneliness is usually a failure of group activities in your calendar. You know,
It's not
just like you might be doing morning pages for an hour trying to figure out the riddles of your life and the complexities of your pain. It's like, no, you just need some macadamia nuts and a cup of water and a shower.
You haven't trained in 4 days.
Yeah, you have low blood sugar. Go eat something.
Yeah, I think I tweeted this out the other day. 90% of problems can be fixed by a good night's sleep, a glass of water, a talk with a friend, or a training session.
Yeah. And I also will often say to my significant others, I'll just say, look, if I'm trying to like reason my way out of something and you just see me grinding the gears in my head at the table with a notebook, just tell me to go lift some heavy stuff for an hour.
Great success.
Yeah. It's just like, tell me to go lift some heavy stuff for a bit.